The only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. Alan Watts said. The reason why I'm starting with this quote by Alan Watts is because the only way that palm-coloreds can see the implications of their racial discrimination is by taking part in the eating of the forbidden fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And before you start stressing trying to wrap your head around this statement, what I mean is when a palm-colored person gets married to a black person or somebody from a marginalized community, that's the only time they will know the implications of racial discrimination. Now, this is not an in-your-face moment or a slap in the face for the palm-color folks. No, it's just a moment of realization. The moment when a celestial being realizes that he is a holy creature and he can no longer take orders from a race of people who are sinners. And videos like these give us hope and make us trust the process. As this palm-color mother talks about her black daughter getting racially biased at a medical facility where she was practicing healthcare. Let's take a look at this video.
And healthcare definitely exists. And if anyone tells you it does not, they are a liar. And my daughter just experienced it for the first time today. I cannot tell you how many times I have been called to a patient room because one, either the patient feels like the nurse that is African American is incompetent and does not know what they are doing, or two, they just do not want an African American nurse for no reason at all. I also cannot tell you the amount of times I have had to chastise or reprimand a white nurse because they are not giving an African American patient the exact same treatment or care that they would give a white patient. So my daughter is doing clinicals and she went in today to do an echo scan on a patient. This patient, she said, was in her early 90s, white patient. The patient had her daughter in the room with her. My daughter is biracial. So to the world, of course, she is perceived as African American. They went in to do the scan. The daughter and the mother immediately looked at my daughter and told the preceptor, my daughter's preceptor, who is white, that they did not want my daughter to do the scan. They did not want my daughter to touch their mother, her mother. The preceptor said, I'm not sure what is the problem. She's very competent. I am right here. If anything, is done wrong, I can correct her. The daughter proceeded to say she did not care. She did not want my daughter to do the scan. She did not trust it. She did not want my daughter to touch her. The preceptor pushed her for what was the problem. The daughter finally admitted. It's because she's African American. She does not want her touching her mother. She does not feel like she is competent enough to do the job. My daughter looked at the preceptor. The preceptor again advocated that she's very competent, that she's right here overseeing. The daughter insisted she didn't want her to touch her. The preceptor said, it's fine, I'll do it. My daughter stepped out of the room. She did not get disrespectful. She actually went to the car and called me. She was in tears. She was so upset. Now, my daughter is a lot like me. My daughter actually wanted to go off, but because she knows she is a professional in a professional setting, she walked out and she came to call me. As a mother, I am pissed. I am just totally pissed off that my daughter was treated like that. But as a person who has worked in healthcare for many years, I'm disgusted. I am disgusted that people are this ignorant in 2024. My daughter is very competent, and there are thousands and hundreds and millions of African American healthcare givers that are extremely competent. Some that are far more competent than their white counterparts. But ignorant patients like this and their families will never get to experience these wonderful healthcare workers because they said it's so stupid. And I hate that my daughter had to go through this. I am truly disturbed. But it's the reality of the world we live in. That people are just this.
What is it, Kingston?
This looks like could kill alligators, or it could be a weapon for cops to bad guys.
Or black people.
Yeah.
The fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil has been taken, and this palm-colored lady's eyes are open. Now, welcome to the real world. And now that this Neo has woken up from the deep sleep of the Matrix, let's see what we have at hand. So in the beginning, I made a quote about Alan Watts when he said the only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. Now let's look at what he might have been implying by this. So in the quote, Alan Watts is likely referring to the idea that change is an inevitable and constant part of life, and instead of resisting it or trying to control it, one should embrace it fully by plunging into it or by plunging into change. He suggests immersing oneself in the experience rather than resisting it. Moving with it implies adapting and flowing with the changes they occur rather than trying to fight against them. And joining the dance suggests actively participating in the process of change, embracing its rhythms and movements. Overall, Watts is advocating for a mindset of acceptance, flexibility, and engagement with the dynamic nature of life and change. And this palm color lady is just experiencing that. Now, the more and more palm color people take part in conversations like these, the more realization will be given to those that practice racial discrimination. So, not only is it a good thing that this palm color lady is realizing the implications of racial injustice, but one of our young ones is experiencing it, which adds a deeper layer of introspection in our conversation. It makes you see exactly how people, when they care for a cause because their loved ones are involved in it, they become active participants in the fight against that thing. And that in itself becomes a blueprint to combat racial injustice. Now, in one of the videos, there was a video with a toddler that was holding some sort of stick that in the video, I censored some words, but what it was implying was, Mom, this stick can be used by the cops to capture bad guys and unaliving them. Then the mom was like, even black people. So you might have not noticed that because I censored some of the words, but that just shows you that racial injustice begins at a toddler level. They start by introducing these subconscious messages into their children. As a result, they become the way they are when they grow up. So it's a thing where if we want to combat it, we need people to become active participants, and the only way this can happen is when their loved ones are involved. So if a loved one, or if at such a level we teach about it, and maybe young ones are aware of it, they can introduce this phenomenon to their mom and tell their mom the implications of this are like this. But from the palm color community, so long as this is not present in their community, this will forever remain a thing. And if palm colors became acceptant of it, it would decrease. Now let's look at the summary of White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo. In another video we did, this book was introduced to us, but we didn't look at it in more details. So let's do that now. So this is a book that gets into the concept of palm color fragility, which refers to the defensive reactions and discomfort that many palm color people exhibit when confronted with discussions about race and orthodoxist. DiAngelo argues that this fragility stems from the socialism of palm color people into a racially privileged position, where they're often unaware of their own biases and participation in systemic orthodoxist. The book explores how palm color people often react defensively or dismissively to conversations about race, feeling personally attacked or uncomfortable. DiAngelo explains how this defensiveness serves to maintain the status quo of racial inequality by deflecting attention away from discussions that involve orthodoxist and preventing meaningful dialogue and change. So, DiAngelo also examines common manifestations of palm color fragility, such as denial of orthodoxist, claims of colorblindness, and resistance to acknowledging one's own racial privilege. She emphasizes the importance of palm color people recognizing and confronting their own biases and complicity in orthodoxist in order to actively work towards dismantling systemic inequalities. But things are taking a different turn as more and more palm coloreds are becoming aware of these injustices. Now, tell me what you think in the comment section regarding today's discussion. And if you found our video interesting, educative, or insightful, like, share, and subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Stay blessed and be ready to accept change.